Hello friends, welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by Mizzen and Main. I am Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. Let's start off with one quick news item here on David Irving. Some good news for him is that the courts have granted Irving custody of his daughter Zoe following the recanted accusations made by Angela Sanchez. Irving went out to California on Monday to pick up his daughter, so that's the good news for David Irving. Zoe's going to stay with him, a very promising sign after the disaster that was the Sanchez accusations made against David Irving. While that is good news, there are some fears within the Irving camp, namely that he told Mike Fisher that he fears that there's going to be retaliation from Sanchez. Remember, Sanchez has already once claimed and then quickly recanted allegations of domestic violence. She posted and then deleted on her Instagram more photos trying to make the accusation that Irving has abused her. Irving and his camp say that she's an MMA fighter. Of course she has bruises. So, unfortunately, I don't think this is the last we're going to hear about David Irving. And for those of you that are still snake-bitten by the Ezekiel Elliott suspension, Roger Goodell showed it doesn't take a whole lot to try and suspend a player, even when the court system finds there's been no wrongdoing by that player. So we'll keep you updated on David Irving. Hopefully everything turns out well for him. We'll take it out to the latest Cowboys rumors. First up, could former offensive tackle Byron Bell head to the New York Jets? 2 stars on this one, and we won't spend that much time on it because Byron Bell wasn't very good for the Cowboys. I mean, I guess he was better than Chaz Green down the stretch, but once Tyrone Smith got hurt, but it wasn't exactly a good thing there. Cowboys, they didn't show any interest in keeping Bell on the roster. We'll take it out to rumor number 2, one of the big ones. Could Dez Bryant go to the Packers? We bring it up because that's where Jason Witten thinks Dez Bryant will end up playing. 2 stars, though, for now on this one because Jason, which we'll mention here in a second, also threw out a second potential team. But Witten thinks that Rodgers would be perfect for Dez Bryant because those two would have good chemistry on the back shoulder fade, which unfortunately Dez and Dak just never really had. Now, I will make mention that even though it makes sense on paper, I think it'd be a good scheme fit, Dez did tell Mike Fisher earlier that he didn't really want to go to Green Bay because of the history involved there and the catch-non-catch. But, of course, the market has not only been that great for Dez. If the Packers come calling, I think he might end up having some interest. But it's not the Green Bay Packers. Who could Dez Bryant go sign for? Well, Witten also threw out a potential signing with the New Orleans Saints. So 2 stars on this one as well, firmly in that rumor category. I think it also makes some sense. Yes, they brought in Cam Meredith. Yes, they drafted Traquan Smith. I think, though, outside of Michael Thomas, I don't know if Meredith or Smith or Ted Ginn is really the true number 2 wide receiver option for the Saints. Dez Bryant would be that guy. And just as a Cowboys fan, I think I would much prefer Dez to go to the Saints than to the Packers because I just don't like that idea of the Packers once again being the team to bounce the Cowboys. So I want to know from you guys, where should Dez Bryant sign? Let me know in the comment section. And one quick note, no, Dez will not be coming back to the Cowboys. That bridge has been burnt. Maybe he'll retire as a Cowboy down the road, but he's not coming back this year. If it's your first time watching the show and you're wondering what the stars mean, here's what they are. 0 stars, number of fights Odell Beckham won against the net. It's fake news. Don't buy it. We have one of those coming up, I promise you. 1 star is a small shred of truth. There's some elements of truth to it here, but don't buy it yet. 2 stars means people are talking, firmly in that rumor category. 3 stars means it's pretty likely, but it's not set in stone. 4 stars, Zeke's eaten. It's a fact. On to our next one here. Will Michael Gallup not replace Dez Bryant? Well, 3 stars on this one actually comes from Michael Gallup. Now, you could see down the road Michael Gallup being the true Dez Bryant replacement, at least based on production, even though they aren't really all that of similar players. But Dallas this year, and Gallup kind of hints towards this, they're going to use the wide receiver by committee approach. They're going to spread the ball around. Gallup, Hearns, Cole, T-Will, Tavon Austin, Zeke, the tight ends, and so on. They're all going to get targets and work. They're not going to just force feed one player the ball. Gallup said, it's not my role yet. I think the yet is the emphasis there. Down the road, I think he wants to, but he knows that's kind of an unfair expectation in year 1 to replace one of the greatest receivers in franchise history. We're going to talk about Tavon Austin and if he is a wide receiver first like Scott Linehan claims, but first, it was from our sponsor, Mizzen and Main. All right, folks. Scott Linehan recently said that he views Tavon Austin as a wide receiver first. We'll give it 2 stars. It's accurate, but it's also not really accurate. First off, Stephen Jones has called Austin a web back, whatever really that is. It's an in-space player, and he's listed as a running back. Now, the reality is that Tavon Austin will play the Lance Dunbar / Lucky Whitehead roles for the Cowboys, and Dunbar was a running back. But if you look only at his stats, he was a receiver. He rarely ran the football. I think Tavon Austin is rarely going to run the football, so he will be a receiver in the same way that Lance Dunbar was a receiver, in the sense that he's really a halfback. He's going to come in on third downs for the most part, but he will be split out wide quite a bit. So he's a receiver. He's a running back. He's listed as running back. It's kind of true. It's kind of not true. In the end, he's just an athlete. That's what Tavon Austin's going to be for the Cowboys, and, of course, a return man. But I want to know from you guys, do you trust Linehan to use Tavon Austin properly? The way you don't use him properly is you split him out wide as an edge receiver. Austin's in the slot. He should be in the backfield at times, should be in motion a lot. Don't make Tavon Austin into an X or a outside receiver. This doesn't make sense. And deep down, that's kind of my fear there. But the way Linehan has used guys like Dunbar in the past, I actually think it might work out okay. Speaking of the offense, is Connor Williams a backup? This coming from the Dallas Morning News, and it is fake news. So what happened was the Dallas Morning News had a college blogger go ahead and give a stock up or stock down for all the Texas Longhorns, and he gave Connor Williams a stock up, said that he might not start in 2018 because the Cowboys' offensive line is really deep, and he might learn behind Tyron Smith for a year, which is just so wrong. Connor Williams, barring injury or a complete disastrous preseason, which I don't think is going to happen, will be your starting left guard. They're not going to move Collins inside. It's not going to be Marcus Martin. Connor Williams is the Cowboys' left guard. That was not mentioned in that article, so I'm sorry, but I had to give it the fake news. That's just not accurate whatsoever. On to some more rumors here. Dalton Schultz, is he the best bet at tight end? 2 stars, people are talking. I think the reality is the Cowboys don't know who will earn that starting role for the Cowboys. Brian Broaddus did say that he thought Schultz was the best option. Also said it was not Rico Gathers. Sorry, Rico truthers out there. The Cowboys also have Jeff Swaim, who has the most experience, and Blake Jarwin, who Stephen Jones loves to hype up with inaccurate numbers about the number of catches he's had. So it is a wide open battle at tight end. In reality, I think you might see multiple guys get a start. Maybe Jeff Swaim starts week 1, and then it's a Jarwin or a Schultz or a Rico get the starting nod. I know you guys all love Rico up there. I expect to see quite a few hearts, but I think week 1 it's going to be Swaim. But 4th-round pick Dalton Schultz, I would not be surprised if he gets the call at some point during the season. On to defense now. Malik Collins, is he going to return in August? Then probably 3 stars. This one does seem pretty likely. Collins underwent foot surgery because for the 3rd time in as many years, he has suffered a foot injury. That's really what you want to see out of a 3rd-round pick. He is going to start the preseason on the PUP list, the PUP list. The hope is that Collins comes back in August and he's good to go for week 1 of the regular season. I think that'll be the case, but given how many times Collins has hurt his foot, I'm not going to give it 4 stars quite yet. And then we'll stick on the defensive line here. Tyrone Crawford, will he stay at defensive end? I thought maybe you could see more Tyrone Crawford at the defensive tackle spot following the Malik Collins injury. Doesn't seem to be the case. So 3 stars on this one. He should stay at defensive end. Now, maybe if a guy like David Irving gets hurt as well, maybe the Cowboys push him back to DT. But the Cowboys are having Crawford slim down a little bit. That's been reported a couple different times out there. The goal is have him better against the pass, not heavier versus the run, which concerns me about the Cowboys holding up in the ground game. That's a big concern for me. But 3 stars on this one. Crawford, who I know you guys aren't always the fans of because of his contract, does do a lot of the dirty work for the Dallas Cowboys.